Hey, how's it going? Excuse me. Oh, darn it. I meant to pull those out before I started rolling. Excuse me. I guess it's going to be one of those recordings where I'm hacking away. So, yeah, hey, how's it going? Please take a look at my signs. So, oh, I meant to change that. Oh, well, next time. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about, I guess, like, after Thanksgiving thoughts and, like, really nothing to do with the day itself, just, like, that it has passed and, well, it's the next day. It's the weekend after the Thanksgiving. And so, personally, I have been feeling like, still kind of like keeping a low profile, like, I definitely have some things like sort of standing by that are not clamoring for attention, but I'm aware of them, and action needs to be taken on a number of matters really soon. But since it's the weekend and a holiday, I'm not gonna do like much of anything, and then I can't do much of anything of substance until Tuesday, for reasons. And so I'm just in kind of a holding pattern, but I have been for a while. And I guess what I'm getting at is that I feel like I should be doing something, something of the things that I mentioned, like anyone I could just go ahead and start doing, but I am not, because, like, for one thing, it has to do with, like, the Lost Notebook, where I could rewrite the part of my novel that I am, for some reason, it's misplaced, which I don't want to do because I don't want to, I don't know, I'll read it again, but I'll have to see, like, I'm not sure I'll know what I referenced, if I referenced anything from the missing part. And I also know that if I write it again, I will find it. And I feel like I have a couple of choices. I feel like I want to just find it. I don't want to rewrite it. But I feel like if I go with the choice of not rewriting it, I'm going to be just feeling all agitated about it until I find it, So, if I do go with that choice, which I have so far, I gotta, like, reconcile with it, because I want the original source material, and also I would like to be able to speak clearly. I'll do my best. So, and if I don't try to find it, part of what I will be tasking myself with is to not have anxiety about it and not rush and be in a hurry to get to that next part. Especially, like, we're about to slow down into molasses in February action mode, so I mean, we're gonna gear down into that. And also, Mercury in retrograde is happening right now, and I guess until the 15th. I was unclear whether it was the whole month or just part of the month last time I talked about it. So, yeah, it ends on my birthday, so that's cool. Oh, hey, Puffer came back. So, the point I'm struggling to make about the first choice is it'll be an experience, and I should stop. I feel like I'm resisting it. Like, that's why I'm having the anxiety, because I just want to find that thing, and I just want to get moving on that task that's attached to. But if I go ahead and rewrite it, because I pretty much remember, I think, everything that went in there, except for one part I'm a little bit fuzzy on, but I know where it picks up, so I can probably string it back together. So, I mean, you know, that'll be the experience in a different way. So, and I guess the reason why I want to go with the first choice, like, it just feels like that's what I want to do, is because over and over, even though it's not like my life is racing, I mean, stuff, things are happening, but, you know, it's not like... I'll give you an example. There's this ad, it's like a frying pan ad or whatever, a pan set. And the guy, the pitch man, he's got a frying pan. He's all, it'll blow your hair back. And I'm like, what? That has no wheels on it. What are you talking? It doesn't have velocity. I don't know. It always just like kind of breaks my brain. But I feel like I have been seeing like a lot of videos, and just from other places, you know, I'm hearing like, slow down, take it easy, stop and smell the roses. And okay, I mean, you know, we're, like I said, we're rolling into a slow down season, but I just feel all hyper on the inside. So and I don't feel like that's doing me any good. Like, I don't think that's helping the experience. So I believe, like, yes, it's okay to go ahead and slow down. Like, you don't have to worry about really jumping on, like, the task that I described, the thing that's just kind of, you know, standing by, or any of the other things. Mainly because I know after Tuesday things start to get real. Like, a lot more action and activity is going to be required of me than usual, and in a way I feel like I'm like storing up energy for it. Hold on a second. And I feel like if I'm feeling something and then I also see it's sort of visible in like the greater world beyond in some way, like sort of a fractal situation, and you will see that, like, I guess I'll link that video. I don't know, man. I was gonna say you'll see like echoes or something that seems very similar to what's already happened somewhere along the line, and I was indecisive just there because I was watching a video. Well, I was watching a bunch of them before this, but I was watching a particular one from the Eyes Wide Open channel, which I've talked about before. It's a documentary channel about the history of like American. Like, the first episode is about the birth of the deep state, and then the one I just watched was talking about the birth of the military-industrial complex. And I was just interested in history anyway, but I'm finding that so much is very echoey. And everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people, you'll hear them saying, this is like, you know, World War II, this is like the Civil War, this is like fill in the blank historical era and or figure. So we do understand that, that concept of like things being very similar. Like, why is the same thing happening way again? And so that video about the founding of the military-industrial complex. If you can wait till I'm finished, I'll feed you. Yeah, military-industrial complex, about the beginning of it. In it, they were talking about, well, a lot of things, but at one point it was Howard Hughes, because they're talking about aviation companies, because that is part and parcel of the military-industrial complex. But they were not such a thing. They weren't called that then. Nobody was. Nothing. A lot of the stuff in these videos, you'll hear the names that they that they started off as, and then the ones that we know today. Anyway, Howard Hughes. They were talking about Howard Hughes. I don't know if you know anything about Howard Hughes, but if you find what I'm saying at all interesting, look into Howard Hughes. He's a very strange character, and I was thinking, man, Elon Musk has some Howard Hughes vibes, and there's that echo. And so the other thing was, they started talking about the Joseph McCarthy era, and the personality of that guy and that whole situation, if you don't know about it, also is very echoesome of some situations we have currently occurring. But it's very dry. It's very, I would say, like, for most people, it's kind of a bummer. Unless people are into that, and I don't really know who's watching my channel, but most of the time that is not the type of thing I'll put on. Like, I won't share stuff like that. I'm sharing, like, pictures of art and animals and much more, like, non-violent, placid, well, yeah, sure, kind of things. But I do, like I said, I see parallels in history, so I'm kind of drawn to it. It's almost like divination, like in a weird way. You just have to, like, know a little history to know, like, why there are a lot of people who, no matter the denials or the lack of evidence in some people's eyes, that there is definitely a Russian component to the things screwing up our country right now, and one of them is the soon-to-be president. So, look, there is historical fact that you can go to and learn about the history between that president-elect's family and Russia, and their own words of the past. So, I mean, we can all only ever make our own decisions. I mean, people can tell us stuff, and we can choose to go along with it and agree, but, I mean, people have patterns, like leaders have patterns, countries have patterns of behavior, and I'm specifically referring to spycraft here. So, there's, certain countries are associated with certain practices, and they're well known. And so, if you have history to refer to, the idea of these people having more to do with things that are not great or in this country's interest just begin to make sense, make more sense. But, we all learn at our own pace, and sometimes the rest of us have to learn at everybody else's pace. And I think we do, actually. And I kind of want to even just move to a different subject, which is that while I was looking at that type of video, like a sort of, it was like, I'll watch stuff like the one I just described, or I'll watch, like, various countries' takes on what's happening in the Ukraine war. And so, yeah, now you know that. So here's something else I was thinking about earlier too. It was having to do with yesterday, kind of. And this gets more personal, but I'll move into what I wrote because I wrote this independently of like what I'm about to say. That I'm like I thought about them at two different times. So yesterday on Thanksgiving, I'm on Blue Sky and just like chatting with someone that's in England. And if you're in the feed or if you're in the notifications, your conversation is visible to everyone unless you make it not that way. So I just leave my stuff public because I'm not saying like I don't know, national secrets in my feed. Anyway, so we're talking about music and like some stuff I posted, and you know, they were talking about Thanksgiving, and they don't celebrate it in England, but they're aware of it, and so you know they know it's a family holiday and that. So he's asking me like, did I have them over or did I go? And I'm like, no, none of that stuff took place. It was very much, pardon, oh my goodness, just talking about it makes me bilious. It was very much a Thursday. I mean, I did some of the cooking thing, but that, oh my gosh. If I can, for certain, get an organic turkey, I'm never doing it again. And really, I don't even eat the turkey myself usually. Like, I have, or I'll eat some. And I planned to. Like, it's okay. I can eat some meat if I want to. I don't do it all the time. I think it's going to be okay. I have a little guilt, I guess. But anyway, I'm all looking over there. Like, you know, the cat's dish is down there. See, really, the cats are the beneficiaries of the turkey mainly, because I'll do it pretty plain, because I know they'll be eating it, and it helps them eat like some real food. I'm hesitating to say that. So anyway, I got a breast portion, and it was like a national brand, and they really went crazy with the brining. It was so salty, it almost made my eyes bleed. It was really salty. It was like inedible because of that. And then after I cooked it, it looked good. It did all of the things. It had all of the appearance. And it even tasted right. But the texture was just so weird. It like you know, breast meat is gonna have like muscle strands. It's very fibrous, and it just like crumbled. Like it didn't even feel like what it was supposed to be. It was just so weird. And yeah. I tossed that thing out because my cat has finer taste than I do. I'll eat things he won't touch. So there went that. But that's not what I wanted to talk about, really. But, you know, for me and also for this British guy, like, he gets it. It's less about, like, the whole Thanksgiving thing and celebrating the fake story with the Indians and all of that. Like, I don't, like, I don't think I ever celebrated it that way. It was always more about like the preparing and consuming of the food and beverages with the friends and family. So, and because, I mean, I have, you know, like a fraction of indigenous background. I don't, you know, I'm like the only one. Well, my half brother is too, but he doesn't know about it, I don't think. Well, he wasn't born until after she passed away, so she didn't tell him. She told me. She didn't tell my cousins, her daughter's kids, because they're not her blood. Like, they were already like grown, like they were already like pre-adolescents, tweens when my aunt married their father. So I assume that's not why she didn't. That's why she didn't tell them that they also were Choctaw, because they were not her blood. So, I'm aware of, like, how terrible that you would be, like, native and celebrate that holiday. Well, for years I didn't even really know all of that. And for the other, my grandmother, not only did she only tell me that, she didn't, like, no one else seems to be aware of this, or if they are, no one's ever talked about it that I've heard. And anyway, but we never, and also my cousins, though, who are not the blood of my grandmother, are like a quarter Cherokee, and they don't even mess with that at all. There's several things, and the only thing that they, well, it doesn't matter. What I was getting at, though, is while I was talking to this guy, he asked me why I didn't, like, have the family or whatever, and he just assumed that I have. He assumed that I am a mother with children, which I'm not. And he asked me, he said, "Well, how come no one's coming around? You a bad mother?" I'm like, he spelled it out that way, mother. And I'm like, no. Well, no, I don't have kids. And no, that's not, that's not why that's not why there was no Thanksgiving, people. The reason why is because I don't live near my family, like, at all, for one. And for another, I haven't heard from him in, like, years. So, he says, why? I said, I don't think they like me. And then, I probably said some things that I could have not said. But you know what? They got said, so there you go. But it was just about, like, the treatment. Like I've always felt like I was in trouble, and I didn't understand for years. I didn't understand a lot of family dynamics until I was well into adulthood, because my own I had my own blocks to those things, like not seeing things clearly all on my own. Now I can't say like it was all because of some other person's behavior or something, but there were, I'll put it this way, it was a situation where you were there all the time and you thought things were all good, and you came and went as if you were just like free to come and go, which you were. And when I say you, I mean me. I was free to come and go. However, I don't learn until later that there was like resentment and like not, people didn't want their responsibilities given regarding like including me, because family stuff. So, and it wasn't until today that I realized that I was like, wow, I was like really kind of open on that stuff. And it pointed to some things, like seeing it written out, I was like kind of for years butthurt, and I guess still like living in the past with that, like a little butthurt about this, that what I talked about was that they, almost all of my cousins have gone through, these ones in particular though, have gone through the drug / prison / rehab, or no rehab at all, just drugs, lifetime, pipeline, whatever it is. And I want to say that I also definitely abused substances, just I retained a level of functionality that was more, I guess, than what they were able to do for a time. And I understand intellectually that, like, well, drugs are, they'll take you away, like literally. They'll take the you of you away for a while until you, void that, purge that from your system. But if that's your deal in your life, then that's what you got to go through. And then the people in your life necessarily are going to, to some degree, go through it with you. And I didn't live with them, so I or I did for a short time, and that's when I also was the recipient of sticky fingers, let's say. And but those like parents of those people got hit like a bunch of times, and it's like a whole thing. And I'm not actually involved. Like I said, I didn't live with them. But what I realized today, as I was realizing how sort of kind of naked that was that the reason that they're always mad at me, that they don't like me, is maybe because I didn't like get in the trouble, and maybe they felt like I should have, but for whatever reason I managed to avoid the same pitfalls. But it's not just about like where you are and what you're doing. It's about who you are. It's about what choices you decide to make, like some people are still drinking and doing drugs when they probably shouldn't be, and I stopped doing both because like waking up with a hangover was like, I'm tired of doing that, and didn't want to wreck any more days. There's a lot of money I'm spending on that stuff, and like what was the return value? Like almost nothing. So it wasn't that hard to stop doing that. I wasn't really dependent on alcohol. I mean, otherwise I'd still be a drunk maybe, but I definitely did some hard drugs, but it was more of a social thing, and a lot of times for a lot of years it was sort of like we pool our money, and then however many votes gets to decide what the drug of choice is gonna be. And then later, of course, I was definitely like buying alone, drinking alone, whatever it was. But I also just like stopped doing stuff like speed, stopped doing stuff like heroin. But the reason why I was ever doing heroin was because I had brain tumors. And when I first got those, I lived in California still. And they do not want to give you, especially if you don't have like a bloody bone sticking out, they do not want to give you pain medication. Or at least they didn't in, what year was that? Like the 1991. And then I lived there for several years after that. But the brain tumors really messed me up, and I don't know if people realize it, but that's like extra stuff in your head, like stuffed in there with the stuff that's meant to be there, and so they generate pain, and I actually still have them because of the location. I couldn't take them out, but now I'm like veering into other subjects. The point is I realized, okay, well, I've been like all kind of like butthurt that the people that clearly finally don't really like me. Like I'm like, I want to be around them so bad, and it's like, not anymore. I get it now. I've said this before, but it took years for me to get it. They made it pretty clear that like they didn't want to chat, they didn't want to hang out, I never get visited. Although, I mean, that would freak me out because I don't think they know this, but I really hate it when people just drop by without, like, calling first, and that's what they do. But that's what I used to do because I thought I could. And really, I mean, all feelings aside, I have still wanted to be in contact with them, still do, actually. So, I don't know, maybe someday, but it's fine. But I realized at one point, like, that was like giving up a lot more than I really needed to, just because I was like thinking that I was having this conversation with just this person. And to do that on a social platform, you probably know this, you got to go to the private messengering part, the direct messenger, whatever, if you want privacy. But I really hate doing that anymore because more often than not, when I relent and follow people back, and this is why I don't do it very often, is when I do follow them back, they try to talk to me, and then it just never goes well. Either I say something to offend them, or the other way around, and no one ends up talking to anyone. And this person actually that I was talking to, and bearing everybody's soul, whether they liked it or not. I didn't get that deep into it. No names were named, no locations were given, but people like often the messaging thing. There's a lot of reasons why I don't want to do it. And a main one is that people will say one thing to get you to do it, and that is not what they really mean. And I'm aware of that always, especially since it's happened so much. Of course, I'm going to be like on the lookout for it, but I just don't want to talk to people. So, but they'll say they want to be friends, and then as soon as they like get you alone, they're not talking about that. They're talking about like sex, and it's like, well, that's kind of a roundabout way to get to friendship, don't you think? Kind of backwards. And so I'm always like trying to get them to just talk to me in the feed, because if you were face to face with people, you wouldn't go directly home with them and lock yourselves into their bedroom and be all, hi, let's talk. Like, no! You get to know each other gradually. And this dude just started talking to me like a normal person in the feed, and it was more than like, oh, I like what you posted, or that was funny, or it was like we were having an actual conversation, which you can do without going into the DM. And I have tried to explain that to people, and it's like they willfully are not understanding. You can have quite the conversation without going to the DM, and the reason I like that is because you decide if you like someone well enough to bring them home, and that is what I would like to do first. And I don't like people making the decision for me, to just be all, you followed back. Hi, I'm just in here. We've never said a word to each other. We just followed, and boom, here I am. I don't like that. What if that was real? How would you feel? You would feel like, who TF are you in my house? Why are you here? Scream and pull it, oh wait, this is America. Gun! You don't just show up unannounced. Also uninvited. Like, it's just not a good idea. So I was very pleased to be talking to this person. We were talking about music and the family stuff. I guess you got to do that when you get to know each other. I don't have like a list. I'm fine to just start anywhere and then gradually, get to the whole after a time, of gradually getting to know each other. He seemed to get that. So that is always what I'm looking for on the platform. I'm not like seeking it out, but that is how I make friends in real life. That is how I prefer to do it. And it's good. You want to talk to people first. You don't even have to fully be friends. You can just, hi, have a conversation, and you don't even have to ever talk again. That's the beauty of social media. So, okay, that was about like more stuff, and it was only really meant to be about the feeling of exposure, because I didn't really have, I guess I had like a little flash in my brain of this, but I didn't really write out much on it, except that, okay, I feel like I'm propelled by a powerful current. I have no control. Nope. Excuse me, scratch that. No control is wrong. I scratched it out, and it just says, in a powerful current where I have control, but I'm letting it carry me away. I I suppose ultimately I can control it, but not today. Today I can control my own passage on the current. I'm not in there alone, and I can see others there in various stages of emotional turbulence or tranquility of their own. Some are great swimmers, others relaxing limply and allowing the current to steer, thusly free to look at their surroundings and those things made up of it. So, what I saw in my head was, if you've ever seen like a home aquarium, it has like these plastic tubes, and they're pretty thick. Like you can't easily puncture them. So, and then I don't know. I guess it was because I'm just realizing this in the moment. I think of them as like yellowed, but I know they don't come yellowed because I've known people with aquariums and they take them apart. And someone I know, actually, their job was to go to people's homes and service aquariums of the stars. I grew up in Hollywood, so it just occurred to me that everybody used to smoke cigarettes, though. That's probably why the tubes were yellow. Like, the color of the wall behind me was the general color of these things. Just on the outside, because obviously the fish are in the water underneath all of that. And like I said, the tubes were thick, so hopefully they were acting as a filter to the tar and nicotine that was stuck to the tubes. But anyway, now I got all sidetracked again. The tube and the current would be inside the tube. This is what I was seeing that I was kind of writing down there. So you're in the tube, and you could just sort of swim along with it and go fast and hurry up and get to the end of the destination. But you don't have to, like you could, like I said, just sort of relax and just go limp and just know that the current has got you. Like you don't have to swim. You don't have to go to that effort. And that gives you an opportunity to, in a way, stop and smell the roses. Like you can look around and go, oh wow, look at that person over there is like flipping the flip out. What is wrong with them? Can I help them? Should I help them? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just like sort of connected to that. Slow down a minute, even though, like I was saying, it's pretty slow around here. It could go slower, okay? I just sort of felt like not only would there be people in the flow, because the flow is like the metaphor for life, I guess. And we just had like some things happen in the U.S., like the election and then the reactions to it and the lead ups to it, and like I feel like we're still kind of totally in the throes of that, and like I said, you heard about my Thanksgiving, so that was not a situation where people were having arguments and things. And actually, because I don't really watch hardly any network news anymore, I don't know, like, are there stats where people killing each other? It's over, though. Like, that seemed to be something that everyone was preparing for battle with their families. Like, there's Trump people and people on the left, and, like, I don't know how it turned out. It actually feels like there's no one here to have that dynamic with. And if there was someone here, probably wouldn't be having that dynamic. But the situation that led up to all of the sort of unease in these situations, it's just been building. It's almost like people were waiting for that day to have that opportunity to literally pop off. So, here's the thing. There's also been all of this like seriously intense solar activity that I've been talking about it for a while now, because it's just gonna go on pretty intense for a while, I guess. And it affects us. uh, it definitely like heightens emotions in that, or it just like takes you out physically, like just makes you exhausted. Although the situation I'm talking about those can be exhausting, and yet we still have to go through them. But you know what the interesting thing is about all of the like pre-holiday tension and worry about all this dissension with each other, and everybody still wanted to go do it. It sounded like. I mean, there were definitely people there. They were like, "I'm just going to stay home," or "I don't want to invite this person." But a lot of people just did the thing, I think. And like I said, in watching news, but I haven't seen any. I still get clips, I hadn't seen anything about horrible Thanksgiving, horrible. They suffered the Thanksgiving, but they survived. I didn't see bad stories about it. In fact, nothing like that seemed to be like pretty okay, I guess. Points, people, that's good. We're not constantly killing each other all the time. We can do that. We cannot do that. So that kind of. Oh no, it doesn't lead me to anything else yet. I'm not done. The being able to like slow way down and just sort of not even have to worry about carrying yourself along, and being able to look at the other people in other situations. Some people would say, oh, that's nosy, or it's not your business to interfere. And the only reason I say to go ahead and witness and examine is because of that weird thing that's kind of hard still to reconcile, but I'll get there. That thing of, oh, come on. Why? Every time I think of a great big build up and then I forget. Let me back it up. We get to see and witness the other people, but it's that thing of what we see in other people that annoys us, or that we violently dislike, or whatever we have a problem with. It always is going to come back to, it's annoying us what we see them doing, what we think they're doing, that is making us feel so like angry and like, oh, disgusted and so mad. Like, that is a thing about you. Like, you're looking at that person and they're mirroring back something about you. It's not about them. That's like kind of infuriating, and that's why I'm laughing, because if you're not ready for that reflection to come back and slap you and burn you, well, I don't know, like, how good at you are at taking sudden crises, crises. How good are you at it, though? Either version of that, good at it, not good at it. That's like, okay, I learned about it this way, and I learned about it this way. There's other ways to learn it. Let me go search that down and figure that out. So, I mean, that's one way I feel like we could look at that thing we feel when we see someone else and they infuriate us or disgust us, or like super love them too. And that one's like more communicable. Wow. Okay, get out. Notifications coming in. Sorry. So there was just one other thing. Well, not one other thing, probably, because once I say one thing, I end up saying 40. I just jotted down another thing, thinking about that looking at each other and getting so mad at each other, and boy, we just take up crusades and write laws and deport and ban and my body, everybody else's damn choice. Dang it. Like, we love that. If we didn't love it, we wouldn't do it all the time. But here's what I wrote. Blame is big right now. And seeing yourself as the blame, not so much. So, like I said, I wrote this stuff like completely separately from what I was thinking about. Anyway, it wouldn't be separate if it was coming out of my brain, but I was talking about something else earlier when I said that. Do you remember what I was talking about? Because I don't now, just vaguely. Never mind. So the blaming thing. Are we done yet? Oh my gosh. So many ways to blame each other for the loss or the win of the candidate. And the why the left is just, it's just funny now. I guess it was always funny. Because they're, like, if you hear it from, like, the politicians and, like, the ones you sort of associate with running the party, they got a whole other narrative going on than even some of their, like, junior senators and Congress people and that. You know, like, you got your superiors and you got your subordinates still. It's definitely a ranking thing that's happening. And then you got the people that are like, we are expected to pay all this attention and money to you people, and then you go do whatever you want, and we tell you in great numbers what we do want, and you're like, no, we're gonna do this other thing. And I'm not talking about Kamala Harris like inviting the Cheneys to join in with the Democrats against Trump, because that's how I see it. Everyone thinks that they're just trying to blend everything together and it's going to ruin the Democrats. You know what, though? Maybe that would work. But we're so, like, sure and want to fight, too. And I don't understand that, because it's like, you got two people that we agree, we think they're heinous, or that they have been thought of as heinous, the Cheneys. But I have no problem accepting their votes. And I also don't think that they were going to come in and, like, change the Democratic Party. And also, again, do I really care that much? Are either of those parties something I even give a damn about anymore? Not really. What I cared about was not Trump. And everyone's like, it's this reason, it's that reason it didn't happen. Here's the thing. The wheels are still turning about this stuff behind the scenes. In front of the scenes, if you are looking, or if your particular feed happens to feed you that type of thing, like mine did, it will tell you that there are crimes that that were committed during the election from the Trump campaign side, and they're already in trouble before they even get into office. So again, I'm laughing. I feel like we've been here before. And also, these are my favorite things: the deportation and well, that's enough right there. Like, that's kind of a big one. But there was another one. They're hilarious to me because the genius president-to-be is, okay, deport all of the cheap work. So the food is, boy, not only is the food going to get expensive, it's going to get scarce. Unless they're going to start paying good money to Americans to go do those migrant worker jobs. So, okay, also, that was it. We lose the workers in the fields, we lose the workers in the housing, and lots of restaurants, and lots of cleaning, lots of childcare. What are you thinking, genius? You're gonna get, like, are you trying to make this place a third world country? Are you trying to make us weak? Because they want to also, okay, wait, I'm not through with the deportation. How are we gonna pay for that? That's the favorite thing. Every time the Democrats want to do something to help this country, and not, like, do it to be nasty and mean, which is what this feels like, because But who are they mad at? Who are they being mean to? Because that's going to hurt this country. Oh, the tariffs. That was the other thing. Man, somehow Mr. Wharton Business School, I don't know if they saluted business schools, but he didn't learn good, because everybody knows, even I knew, like, dude, you're doing tariff backwards. Like, you don't put it on us. You don't, God, just put it away. You don't know what you're doing. But he insists on bullying ahead, even though the world's, the globe over of economists are like, you're wrong. He's like, not the way I do it. And they're like, explicitly, the way you do it is wrong. And he's like, nope. So that's gonna, like, mess us up in a lot of ways. Just a lot of systems will be kind of crippled, and just broken and half-assed and busted. And boy, you know, he suggests this stuff. You think he wants this country to just be a weak, wrecked, broken mess. Why would he want that? Well, who could benefit from that, I wonder? Who would want that to happen to this country? We with our allies? Oh, I don't know. We don't have all allies. We have frenemies. We have probably enemies. I don't know why we won't just say it. Because, yeah, they're here. They're queering the mix, and nobody's talking about it. Anyway, yeah, how we gonna pay for it? Just go ahead, listen to the genius, and this is the gloating that I'm gonna do right here. This is gonna be it, because it's not gonna be funny, actually. However, referring back to something I've been saying a lot lately, things just don't look necessarily like what we think they do. Like, we don't. I feel like we're not comprehending a lot of times because we don't have enough information, you know, about the thing that we're trying to know about, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But a lot of times it's that we are just not, you know, doing the work ourselves to know what's going on. It's not really hard. I mean, all you gotta do is watch something different on your phone than what you're looking at for a while, and then you'll have done it. Oop, you checked it out. You looked at what there is to see, so you know what's going on. And it's kind of amazing that people don't do that, because you know the phone is right there. The Google machine is in your hand. But you know, we all do things at our own pace. We have to remember that. It's there's a lot of things, like I just talked about a few things, and that's just like a few things that I'm talking about. We have to deal with stuff, that many things all the time, like every minute. We are stronger than that. We're just not using our thinkers much or something. Oh yeah, there was something I was watching earlier, and it was Europeans in fear discussing, like, what the hell do we do if, you know, looks like Trump's gonna get elected again. That sounds bad for us. We don't want to do it. And one of the things they were discussing was the difficulty of getting through to the MAGA people about what was even wrong with Trump stuff. Was that, I say it all the time, read a book. People don't read. It's you actually need to read. It's better for you to absorb information than watching something. Like, as far as studying or learning something, like if you're, this is important, I think, to know what's going on in your politics. But also, like, if you're in school studying, both important. You'll find that they both end up leaking into each other in your life at some point. It may not be algebra, but it'll be something that you learned that you will, that'll come in handy. Like, what the hell a tariff works? What was I saying? I guess that's it. I don't know. I pulled some cards. I'm not feeling, like, I guess I'm not feeling them. I'm just gonna leave them. Except this one. When I was shuffling, it kept coming up and coming up and coming up, and it looks like a whale's eye to me. It's not the right colors, but I don't know, maybe it's a dragon's eyes because it's all fiery. What you seek, this is what it says. That's what it looks like. Fiery dragon eye. Look at the spokes in there. I just got that wheels within wheels kind of look. Oh, okay, well, I don't know. I'm just going to put that aside. I just remembered something. One last thing. I have this, like, email thing I get with a daily card pull and, like, an oracle card. And so today, the card I got was, like, a ship in a bottle. And I thought, isn't that funny? I was talking about traveling in the tube, which looked like an aquarium, like oxygen tube. And seriously, I already forgot. Oh, the ship in the bottle. Also contain, and also the ship like indicates that it's gonna go somewhere. It is a sailing vessel, although it is in a bottle. But the thing about that is, you think a ship in the bottle can't go in the water without breaking the bottle. That's not true. There's probably some kind of way to get the ship out of the bottle without breaking the bottle. But you can just put the bottle in the water and let that go. The card, though, what it talked about, there's a person at the other end of the card pull. It's a person named Jeremy. And so what they were saying about it was that it indicates, like, you have the wherewithal to, like, pick up and go, and that's an accomplishment. Or if it's your ship that you made, either in the bottle or, like, if it was an actual human-sized passenger ship, vessel, you know, that you could actually go travel on. Those, in either case, they require a lot of precision, like engineering to run properly. Like the sails are complicated, and the lines that move them are, and the masts and all of this, and the sails got to be mended, and they got to be rolled up and down, and there's netting, and there's all these like little functions that have to be just so, and then the people operating them need to know what they're doing, because it's like a really coordinated effort. Like, if you've ever watched a sailing race on TV, obviously the boats look different in most cases, but those people will all of a sudden be moving really fast, like messing with stuff and leaping around, and it just, like life, things can just be going along just fine, and then all of a sudden a storm flares up in your life. And it was a lot also about taking stock and then looking around at, like, this is what I've achieved, and this is, or, you know, the material items that I have are the result of my success. You know, like, I've achieved all of the things that make you a success with the financial gains and all that junk. So I just thought, I just love the way the little messages all kind of come together for me. And because I talk so long, I'm just not going to do cards. Thank you and good night. Oh, wait, am I done? Final point, I guess, is you too find another way, like yet another way to slow down. If you can, like, work it into your schedule, definitely do. You'll thank yourself. But we all need that moment, you know, like, even if you have to, like, isolate yourself from, like, the world and your surroundings, you can be that fully assembled boat, dream boat even, that you can, like, go to and travel to those places that you maybe like you in the moment, or at the moment rather, you can't get to right now, but you know, you can look around your ship and your bottle and know that you have the capacity to have done all of this, and you can just then do more. You know, there's no reason why you can't do more. You can always do more. And so we all, like, whether we celebrate the holiday or not, we do have the benefit of the time off. And well, you know, winter is not really a growing season for, you know, crops. Everything just kind of slows down. And you do those indoor pursuits. So that's okay. And it gives you an opportunity to sort of step out of all of the noise and activity of your life that might give you anxiety and stress. And yeah, that's it. I mean, we always have that accessible to us. Okay, one last thing. When you're doing like the bottle hobby with the ship, you know how they do that, right? They put all the little pieces in and put the ship together inside the bottle. Sorry if I spoiled a magic trick for anyone, but when you do something like that, it's like very minute and precise and requires concentration. And if it's your hobby and you want to be doing that, that is so good. Like, it's so good for us to have that. It is like one of the best states of mind we can get ourselves into, particularly if we are, you know, stressed out or having anxiety, which, you know, the holiday season, along with the love and camaraderie, will bring the friction and the argueraderie. All right, I'm done. Thank you and good night.